Debbie Arnold with Dining with Debbie. Thanks so much for being here today. I really appreciate it. We are out of granola, so I'm making up a new batch today. But this is our seasonal granola. It's pumpkin spice granola. Of course, it's pumpkin spice everything, isn't it, these days? But this is real pumpkin spice, y'all. It's not that heavy flavor that you oftentimes get artificially. We're going to be using our homemade pumpkin spice that we made the other day. That recipe is on my videos. If you have not seen that yet, it's also on my blog, diningwithdebbie.net. So if you need to make up a batch to use in all these fall recipes, go ahead and do that and have it handy. We're going to start our granola with 3 cups of rolled oats. Now, these are not steel cut oats and they're not instant oats. You want the old-fashioned oats, just like this, okay? And to that we have added a 1/2 cup of wheat germ, just to add some extra nutritional value to that. If you don't have it, you can leave it out, or you can substitute in barley or even quinoa or some other ancient grain like freekeh or something like that. Anyway, wheat germ, it's easily found in the grocery store. It stays in a jar, and I keep mine in the refrigerator. If you don't keep it cold, it will spoil on you. It'll kind of go sour or stale on you. All right, and to that we have 1/4 of a cup, actually 1/2 of a cup of dark brown sugar and 1/2 of a teaspoon of kosher salt, and I have those already in there. To that I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of nutritional yeast, not quite 2 tablespoons, about 1.5 tablespoons actually. And nutritional yeast, there again, that is in there to enhance the flavor as well as bump up that nutritional value. You don't want to just be eating grains, just cereal to have for cereal. You want to be having the best nutrition that you can give yourself when you're doing this. All right, to that we are going to add in our pumpkin spice, and I'm going to add in 2 real good sizes of teaspoons full of pumpkin spice. If you want more, add more. I don't like it to overpower. Okay. And you know by now that little indentation right there in my hand is a teaspoon. I've measured it any number of times, y'all. Okay, to that we're going to add in 1/2 cup of pumpkin, and this is pumpkin, canned pumpkin, not pumpkin pie spice. Okay. I will freeze the rest of the can and use it later, either for pumpkin pancakes or even some more granola. There are all kinds of uses for it. Okay. All right, I'm going to stir that up a little bit, and then we're going to add in our oil that I've already measured in here. We have 1/4 of a cup of oil and 1/4 of a cup of maple syrup, and I have added to that 2 big teaspoons of cane syrup. I've used sorghum in the past, I've used molasses in the past. Any of those would be good. You could also use honey. Molasses and sorghum tend to be really strong in flavor, as does the Esteems cane syrup. So if you don't like that real strong flavor, you're going to want to cut it either with some maple syrup or with some honey. And if you don't like it sweet, we're not going to add any sugar to this, of course, when we eat it. You want to cut back on some of that brown sugar. I like to use the dark brown sugar because it has more of the molasses in it than the light brown sugar does. So stir that up really well. Now we're going to add in our syrups and our oil. Smells good. I remember growing up, and a good friend of mine, her father raised sugar cane, and always when he got to where he was cutting the sugar cane to make syrup, all of us kids would go over there, because we just thought that was the neatest thing to get to put that cane through the press and watch the liquid drop out and gather it, and then he would boil it down to make syrup. It was so good. We would take those sugar cane stalks and chew on them. Have you ever done that? Okay. Now, to this we're going to add in, I have probably about 1.5 cups to 2 cups of chopped walnuts. You could use pecans if you have those. I happen to like walnuts in this because, for one thing, they're cheaper than pecans in my area. And I just always have them on hand. Now these are toasted. I toasted them prior to chopping them up. I like to use toasted nuts in most of my baked goods. I think it just really enhances the flavor. Just give it a try sometime, and I think you'll be able to tell the difference. All right, to this, we're also going to add in a good teaspoon of vanilla. And I'm just, you know me, I just pour it. Smells good. This has been brewing in here for a while. You can see the vanilla bean in there if you look closely. Homemade vanilla is pretty easy to make, actually. I buy lots of vanilla from my friend Amy Hannon in Springdale. She owns Unimaze, which is a really, really cute kitchen store. If you're ever up in Northwest Arkansas and want to check it out. All right, to this, I'm going to add in some pumpkin seeds and some coconut later, and some cranberries, dried cranberries later. But I don't want to do that right at the beginning because my pumpkin seeds are already toasted. If I put them in now, they would be overdone by the time the granola comes out. Same thing with the coconut. I just have a bunch of coconut that I toasted up, and so I'll just toss this in the last 5 to 10 minutes of the cooking time on the granola. And the same thing with the dried cranberries. If you put them in now, they have a tendency to get too hard. And while we like crunchy ones, not a lot of people do. So I wait and I put those in toward the end of the cooking time along with the pumpkin seed and the coconut. Okay, we're going to put this now on our baking sheet. We have an oven that is preheating to 325 degrees. Then we have a big baking sheet that's been lined with parchment. You definitely want to line your baking sheet with parchment paper or at least foil. If you don't, your granola is going to stick and you'll have a mess on your hand. I don't like washing dishes. I don't know about you guys, and I sure don't like them if I'll mess it up. All right, so we're going to spread this out. This is going to cook probably 35 to 45 minutes, and I would say start watching it around 30 minutes. If it's starting to get too brown, you're going to want to make sure you get it out. Spread it out in a thin layer, just like we always do. Now, I don't know about you, we don't eat bowls full of granola, you know, because it's got quite a few calories in it, but it's really good for you. It's so much better than some of the boxed cereals that you're going to get in the grocery store. And making your homemade granola is by far the cheaper route to go than purchasing. You know, a good sized bag of granola will run you $6 or $7 at least in the grocery store if you get the kind that's, you know, got lots of good nutritional value in it. Okay, I'm going to put this in the oven. I'm going to let it cook for about 20 to 25 minutes. I'll take a look at it, and then I'll probably add in my pumpkin seeds and my coconut and my cranberries at that time. I'll come back when I do that and show you that, and then it won't be long before our granola will be done. One thing you're going to want to do is when you bring it out of the oven, you're going to want to set it aside and let it cool completely before you try to store it. I store mine in an airtight jar, a little container that I keep up in the pantry. You can also bag it and put it in the freezer. It's great little gifts if you want to make some up to have gifts, you know, to hand out with neighbors or whatever, like newcomers in your neighborhood, or even as Christmas gifts. That'd be good. Christmas is going to be here, y'all. This is September and we're in the middle of it anyway, aren't we? All right, so into the 325-degree oven. And I will be back with you in just a little bit, and we'll be adding in those last ingredients and finishing up our granola. Thanks again for being here. Okay, so it's been about 15 minutes since I put the granola in the oven. I'm going to take it out and stir it, and at this point you want to stir it probably about every 5 minutes. just so that it all gets good and toasted. It smells wonderful. Oh y'all, it does. It just smells like fall so much. And you can already see it starting to clump together. I don't know if you like your granola clumping, but we do. I like to snack on it that way. And speaking of snacks, this does make a good snack for your kids' lunches or for you even. You just need to make sure that your school doesn't have a policy about nuts, at school, because so many kids are allergic. And you certainly don't want to cause any problems there. All right, so I've stirred that up. I'm going to go ahead and add in my pumpkin seeds, my toasted coconut, and my cranberries. As I said before, the pumpkin seeds and the coconut are already toasted, so they really don't need to cook very long. And the dried cranberries don't need to cook at all if you don't want them to. So I'm going to sprinkle that on there, and then in about 5 minutes or so, I'll give it a good stir and get those really good mixed in. And it won't be long before this granola is ready. So when it's done, I'll come back and show it to you, and then we'll be letting it cool before we store it. I want to let it cool completely before you store it, otherwise it'll taste stale. So if you let it cool completely before you store it, it's going to be nice and crispy for you. Okay, we'll be back in just a little bit. I just took our granola out of the oven, and it smells so good. It's that nutty taste of smell, actually, of the oats and the walnuts and the pumpkin, just the pumpkin spice that's in here, just really makes you think of fall. I hope you'll make up a batch of this pumpkin spice granola. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you add or take away. I'd like to know your tips and tricks too. Be sure and leave me comments below, and let me know what you think. And let me know what you'd like to see me cook. I've had some requests, and I'm going to try to honor those in the next week or so, and we'll see where we go from there. Y'all take care. Have a great day. Make up some granola for a nice healthy breakfast or snack. Or it's great on ice cream. It's great on the top of cobblers, y'all. Just any number of ways that you can use it. It's good and healthy. If you have any questions, be sure and let me know. Thank you for being here. Have a very blessed day.